Hello, everybody. It's Nancy of Nancy Dilts Wardrobe Consulting, and we're going live tonight to talk about self-care. And I am going to try to get so I can see comments on my computer as well. And I hope everyone's doing really well. Someone is on. I see there's one person has joined. Please say hi so I know who's here as you hop on so that I can know who I'm talking to. I see a couple of folks are here. Please say, give a little shout out, say who you are. Hello, Missy. I'm so glad you're here. Thank you so much. Do you notice, Missy from Elite Repeat? I'm wearing pretty much everything I'm wearing tonight, I think, is from Elite Repeat. Always love it. Love it, love it, love it. And I'm so glad you've joined me because we're going to be talking about all kinds of ways to practice self-care. Hello, Morgan. I'm so glad you're here. Yay! Yay! We're going to have fun and we can have a conversation. And look, this Morgan, you'll know what this is from. I figured I better get out my heart on a stick since we're talking about self-love and self-care because we all need it. And my heart on a stick comes in handy. I first used this when I did a video. I think it was during like when we were in lockdown with Morgan. And hello, Fanya. I'm so glad you're here too. That's so awesome. Yay, we have people. Woohoo. Thank you. I'll have to wave it around. Remind me whenever we need a little reminder, I can get my heart out to uh, to help us remember. And I see, oh, yep, the heart on a stick lives on. I'm saving this thing forever, Morgan, because it just makes me laugh every time I look at it. And it's perfect for making people smile. So do say hello as you hop on so that we know who's here chatting. And I really do want this to be an interactive experience tonight because we're going to be talking about how we can increase our self-love through self-care. Because, I think that women especially have a really hard time with especially giving themselves compassion, which is a really big key to love. And the practice of self-care is a way to really actually help you to accomplish that. So I wanted to go deep because February is the month of love and Valentine's Day. Thank you, Monica. I'm so glad you're here. Yes, I love this scarf. It's from Elite Repeat. My whole outfit is. I just had to give them a little shout out. Um, but since February is the month of love, I wanted to think about self-love because we all, we're loving on our families and we love our partners and our children and our parents, and we're always putting that love out to everyone else. But it's really important to give some of that love to yourself as well. And so I would love, I'm going to talk a little bit about my take on that, but also, I want you to all to share what you all do to practice self-care because I think that we can use the hive mind to share ideas and something that someone does that you've never thought of before might be the perfect thing that helps you to take time for yourself. And so let's definitely share the things um, that we do because it's just so important. And Missy, I know I'm sweet, but also I'm telling the truth because I love my clothes from Elite Repeat, and it's really fun when I put all my things together and I was like, oh, look at that. It's a whole outfit right from there. Okay, so one of the things that I wanted to talk about, I'm going to go ahead and dive in, and please, I'll pay attention to numbers, and when people hop on, I'll encourage you to say hi, and do give your feedback. If you have something you want to say about what I'm talking about, pipe right in because I want this to be a conversation. One of the things that I wanted to really point out is that so when we're thinking about our relationships with other people, we know that they require attentiveness and care. But hey, what if we did the same for ourselves? Because we actually have a relationship with ourselves. And I know that I can be so hard on myself sometimes, and I'm my own worst critic. And And I'm really like the last probably year and a half, I've been really trying to step away from that and acknowledge it, but also recognize that being my own worst self critic is not going to help me to move forward in my goals, and it's not going to help me to be the person that I want to be. And that doesn't mean that if you make a mistake, you acknowledge that you made a mistake. If you need to make something right, you do that also. But it also means really, giving yourself the compassion that you would give for another person, and talking to yourself, even if it's just inside your mind, although I do actually talk out loud to myself all the time. My daughter is very quick to point out that I do that on a regular basis. And she's always like, "Are you talking to me or are you talking to yourself?" And almost 90% of the time, I'm talking to myself. But it is really important that you are treating yourself with the same respect and kindness that you would another person. And one of the things that popped to my mind as I was thinking about this is Gary Chapman's love languages. So I know most of you probably give a little thumbs up or a like or a heart if you've heard of the love languages before. And if you've actually identified what your love languages are, pop them into the chat right now so we can see what people's love languages are. I'll read them off if you aren't familiar with them. They were created by psychologist Gary Chapman. And they are the five love languages are words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. And your love languages are the things that I want to just see. Do pop if you know what your love languages are. Do pop them in the chat. But love languages are when he created them, he was thinking about the way that you interact with your romantic partner. And so he was talking about like each person has their own love languages, meaning that they feel loved when they are receiving certain things. And it's the things that they like to do for other people. So I'm going to throw my husband under the bus, but he's not on Facebook, so he doesn't know. But one of Dan's love languages is doing acts of service. He really, really enjoys caring for other people and showing his love for me by doing things for me, which is really, really nice. And one of my love languages, one of my really big ones, is physical touch. And that one, and like he does like to be touched, but that's not his primary love language. And so sometimes we're kind of going like this. The reason I'm bringing these up today, though, is that I actually think that it could be an amazing idea to think about what your love languages are, and then every once in a while do those things for yourself. So if you are a person that really likes to receive gifts, and then you feel really, that just means something to you, why not treat yourself to a gift from yourself? And as Missy has said before, to me, from me. Why not do that? That's a really amazing way to practice self-care for yourself. Or if you really like to hear words of affirmation, write yourself an amazing love letter and really think about all the incredible things that that make you shine, and tell yourself about them so that you can remember them. And then you can take that letter and get it out when you're having a low day. As I said, I really like, physical touch means a lot to me. And so doing things like, a bubble bath is a really nice way, where it's sort of a bodily experience. And so, and you're feeling a physical sensation. Or even doing things like just doing the hand over your heart and hand over your belly and doing some deep breathing, because you're getting that gift of touch, and you are you're calming your body, you're putting actual physical pressure on your body, and that can really do amazing things for yourself. Another thing that I really like is just actually like holding hands with yourself. Just putting your hands in your lap and holding them together, with not, hard pressure, but just gentle pressure. and just sitting and just being peaceful with yourself. Missy says that is a great idea, especially if you know your partner is not good at gifts. Don't fault them. Just take it on yourself and enjoy it. And yes, exactly, because that is, and actually, gifts is absolutely not one of Dan's, my husband's love languages. He really like he's like, oh, gifts, whatever. It's really not a big deal to him, and I do enjoy receiving gifts. And I've learned that it doesn't mean that he doesn't love me by not giving, by not making that a priority. But I do sometimes. I'm like, I'm going to treat myself, and that is just like it is. It's a really, really great way to practice self-care. And Monica says, great idea with the love letter and reading it on a tough day. Yes, because I know that I definitely have low days and I need everything that I can get. And sometimes it just needs to come from yourself. And also, I know I'm a little bit extroverted, and so I do really like having time with people. And so, seek out getting together with someone. If you're feeling like you need that little boost, then make it happen. So one of the things that, when we often think about self-care, we do, we can go to those, there's sort of the hallmark type of self-care where you can get chocolate or you can do a bubble bath, which again, bubble baths are awesome. Although I don't find myself taking baths very often, and I always intend to it's like, oh, I should really take more baths because that would feel good. But then it's just not a thing that just pops into my mind as a go-to. And I mentioned, I think when I was doing talking about this live, is that I love sitting and relaxing with a glass of wine, especially with friends. That is like the ultimate relaxation thing for me and just fills me up to have fun. But the perimenopause symptoms that I'm having, wine is like one of the worst things that I could drink in terms of how it makes me feel. Like if I even have just like a half a glass of wine, I feel like I have a huge hangover the next day. So it's totally not worth it to me to drink wine anymore because it actually makes me feel worse. It does not help. And so I've been trying to find alternative kinds of self-care that are different from sort of those typical things that you think about. And some of the ones that I think can be really the most meaningful are things that are more introspective and maybe doing a blend of both where you're kind of treating yourself to something, but also doing things that they may not necessarily feel like some decadent thing. But when you're looking at the big picture and and looking into like the true change that you want to make in your life, that you can actually really really truly lift yourself up with some of the deeper internal things that you can do. And some of those things are like you can build in self-compassion breaks into your day and I know that I would have to put that on the calendar so that I actually follow through with doing it. But where you are you build it into your schedule where you take 10 minutes and just do the belly breathing, heart, hands on heart and belly, and just do some breathing. You could do a loving kindness meditation. It's also called the meditation, METTA meditation. And you can just look that up if you aren't familiar with it. But it's a really beautiful meditation where actually my very favorite meditation. It's where you are thinking about like sort of spreading ripples of love, and you actually start with yourself first, and you just like shower yourself with self-love. And then you move on to showering your very close loved ones with self-love. So holding them in your mind as you meditate with loving kindness. And then you move on to people that are in your world that you love, that maybe aren't your immediate family or they're not as close connections, but you're really spreading that ripple effect of love to those people. And then the most challenging part of the loving kindness meditation is spreading it out to people that you actually may not care for very much. So people that you really struggle with your relationship with them, or people in the world, maybe leadership role, people in leadership roles, or things that you really, really have a very hard time with showing them compassion and love, and actually really working towards spreading loving kindness into that ripple of the people around you. So that is actually kind of incredible to do that loving kindness meditation. Again, focusing on yourself first, putting yourself first, but then working your way all the way to people that you struggle with. And it's really actually pretty energizing and meaningful in my heart when I do that, when I get to that last ripple of people. Some of the other things that I came up with that can be a little bit more introspective are journaling, and again, like that love letter thing, where you're just really taking time to maybe get your heart emotions out, and then also being sure to practice gratitude while you're doing that, because that can really turn around how you feel about the whole day. Is thinking about the amazing things that are happening in your life. And then this one is like, doesn't sound at all like an act of self-love or self-care, but actually doing a daily brain dump, because that can, and so that's like getting all the things that are sort of running around in your mind and just taking a moment and writing them on a piece of paper, or you can have a notebook that's dedicated to where you do that. And each day, just sort of getting all these things that are rattling around in your mind onto the piece of paper, so that then you don't have to think about them anymore. You know that they're there on the piece of paper, so you can refer to them when you need to. But then you can focus and you can be calmer, and your mind can be ready to face whatever it is that you need to focus on in the day. And to me, that's an amazing act of self-care for me, because when I have a whole bunch of stuff going on in my head, I have a really, really hard time focusing and like letting that stuff go so that I can actually accomplish something. I end up having all these things that I end up not really fully accomplishing anything because I'm thinking about too much. Another thing that sounds really, really appealing to me is reading poetry. Because if you read poetry, it's not a huge, big commitment. You could just like find a book of poems by a poet that interests you, or find a collection of poetry, from all different people, and then it's not a big time commitment. Some poems, literally take 30 seconds to read. At tops, they may make take 5 minutes to read, but that's a way, again, to give yourself a little bit of a mental break and to enjoy something beautiful and to step away from the crazy and just allow yourself just a moment to breathe. So let's pop into the chat. What are some of the things that people do that are watching tonight? What are some of the things that you do to practice self-care? Because I'm all down for hearing some new ideas. So Monica says, practicing gratitude is a game changer. It really is. That's something that I have been doing for about a year now. And I cannot believe the difference it makes when I actually am, I try to do it right when I wake up, and I do it when I'm going to sleep. And then also, if I find myself really stressed in the car, I do it in the car too. Morgan says, having early morning time to myself to meditate, journal, and write down gratitude sets me up to start my day in I have to see more. Ugh. Start my day in a positive way. That's awesome, Morgan. Yeah, you were telling me about, won't let me see more. You were telling me about your morning practice, and wow, it's amazing. And it's just such a time for you, which puts you on the right foot to start your day. And I just it's something that you inspired me, that I really am making an effort to be much more intentional about my morning and how I get going, because I'm, maybe I'll become a morning person. I don't know. It's really hard for me in the morning. And so I'm just sort of shuffling, getting myself going as fast as I can. And I know that if I'm more intentional, when I do practice yoga in the morning, it makes a huge difference with how the rest of the day plays out. Any other thoughts or things that you like to do? And it can be like drinking a bottle of wine and watching a favorite TV show. It can be whatever. I am ready to hear all the acts of self-care. One of the things that I really like to do also is to go for a walk. And I was talking about this earlier today. Um, in a webinar that Morgan put on, which you should check out because it was called Be Empowered, and it was all about body respect and joyful movement because Morgan is a strength trainer, and it was a fantastic webinar. And we were talking about how when it's really cold, it's super hard to get out there and walk. And so we were brainstorming ways and like meeting at the mall to go for a walk with a friend so that you aren't freezing, but you can actually, walk a distance so that you actually feel like you get some good movement in, but you don't totally freeze. So Missy says, I'm going to look over here on my computer so I can see the whole thing. A daily devotions book has been a game changer for me. A simple, quick way for me to check in with myself and start my day. Yeah, that's awesome. And then, oh, Morgan says, thanks for that shout out. Well, I'm shouting it out just like because I'm shouting out Elite Repeat is because it's awesome. I only shout out things that are awesome. And Missy, I want to show you this book and everyone else too. This book is called Clarity and Connection. I think it's backwards, but it's by Young Pueblo. And this book is sort of like daily. I know your daily devotions are probably Bible verses, and then meditations on the Bible verses. But these are poems, but they are meditations that are just, oh my gosh, they're all about relationships, and many of these yes, they can relate to your relationships with other people, but again, they are equally applicable to your relationship with yourself. And I like to pick this up and just open it and find one, and oh my gosh, every single time I'm just completely moved by his writing. They are just beautiful pieces. I so highly recommend it. So Morgan says she also enjoys taking a bath and reading. Do you actually read in the tub? That's what I should do. That is what would get me to take a bath. And then actually maybe have a little nice beverage sitting there to sip on too. Monica says she loves that book too. Yes, I know you shared it in one of your lives too. Monica's a yoga instructor. She's awesome too. I just love having all my people on here. It's really fun to do lives with y'all. I have to say that. But this is seriously a really, really good book. And yes, Morgan reads while she bathes. Okay, I'm totally doing that. That is going to be my new act of self-care this week. Any other acts of self-care that people like to share? Because I don't want to go on too long, but I also want to make sure that we get all the amazing ideas out there. Let's let them come. And I'm going to just wave my little heart one more time in case anyone hasn't seen it. I love the heart on a stick. Yay! Because again, ladies, practicing self-care is absolutely essential. So Carrie Brown, yes to the kiddos. We have so much to learn from them. Wait, I didn't see Carrie's. Oh, here, I missed it. Okay, Carrie Brown Kirsch says, sometimes self-care is playing with my 11-year-old son. Kids are so much better at fully giving in to play. I learned from him to stop and enjoy the little things. Oh my gosh, Carrie, you are so right. Because I just get, it's so easy to be carrying 55 things in my mind. And my daughter's 18 now, but sometimes she is a really good reminder to me to just stop and slow down and be single-minded in what we are doing and bring our full attention to what we are doing, and especially when we're spending time with our loved ones, because I'm realizing my daughter's a senior in high school and she's going to be gone next year, and holy buckets, I need to start spending as much time with her as possible. And then Monica says using essential oils. Yes, that's one of the things I actually was going to mention that. So I have some essential oils here too. And I like to use them because they really do. Mine are from Young Living. Dina Nash is my person that I get them from. They really do. Aromatherapy can be so calming. And I definitely do that when I'm feeling really stressed out and I carry a lot of my stress right in my chest. And it's like, and sometimes if I get really stressed out, I can feel my blood pressure go up and my heart will be racing a little bit. And then just again, breathing, the heart belly breathing, and then doing, breathing in essential oils can be super, super helpful. Are there any other ways that people use essential oils? And I know, like, we can definitely, you can put them into a bath, and then into a diffuser. But do people, like, are there any people who sometimes use essential oils, like they take them internally, or I guess you can rub them on your skin, or there are other things that you can do. But do throw out. I see a couple other people have joined. Welcome. Say hello, and also pop it. We're sharing our ideas for self-care, and I want to make sure I read all the comments. Okay, so Morgan says, I was just gifted a bathtub tray, and it holds my book and beverage of choice and a candle. Oh my gosh, this sounds amazing. I might have to do this tonight after we end. Are there any other thoughts from anybody else? Because I'm super glad to see all of you. And again, I'm going to just say it one more time for the people who just joined, that I was saying earlier that Gary Chapman's 5 love languages, words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. I want you all to, I'm going to give you a little homework from this live. I want you to think about those 5 love languages and which are the ones that you feel like resonate most with you. Words of affirmation, quality time, physical touch, acts of service, and receiving gifts. And I want you to maybe take your top 2 that resonate with you and promise yourself that you are actually going to do one of those or both of those love languages for yourself. So Heather says quality time is her love language. Okay, so Heather, to practice self-care, which can lead to self-love because it just can make everything just seem more open and better and calm and good and help you to be more compassionate with yourself. So Heather, I want you to book some quality time with yourself. And that doesn't mean that you can't have quality time with other people too, because you definitely can. But have some quality time with yourself, because I think that we really don't do that for ourselves enough. And I'm going to do my bath and read and have a wonderful beverage, a la Morgan, because that just sounds amazing. And I want to make sure I didn't miss any other comments and any other thoughts. But and now I have other people coming on. I'm so glad that you're here. But we are about to wrap up. But I do please pop into the chat if you have any ways of practicing self-care that really, just that feel so good when you do them, because we all need ideas and we all need ways to show ourselves some love. So thank you very much for joining me tonight, everyone. And again, do your homework, give yourself a little love in the next few days, and take some time to practice self-care, because it will do a world of good. And thank you for joining me. Heart on a stick. I love you all. Mwah! And have a great evening. Bye-bye.